Welcome to a space where your potential is no longer something distant or theoretical, but something you begin to activate, refine, and express in your daily life through clarity, discipline, and intentional effort. Because true performance is not about occasional bursts of motivation or moments of inspiration, but about consistently showing up at your best, even when conditions are not perfect, even when energy fluctuates, and even when challenges arise. Today's audiobook, Peak Performance: How to Perform at Your Absolute Best Every Day, is designed to guide you into understanding the deeper principles behind sustained excellence, helping you develop the mindset, habits, and focus required to operate at a high level in every area of your life. Before we begin, take a moment to support the channel by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this with someone who is ready to elevate their performance and take control of their daily results, because your support helps this message reach those who are committed to growth. And now, allow yourself to become fully present, to listen deeply, and to engage with the ideas that have the power to transform how you approach your day, your work, and your life. Part 1. The Foundation of Peak Performance. Peak performance is not a single moment of excellence, nor is it reserved for elite individuals or extraordinary circumstances, but rather a state that can be cultivated through consistent alignment between your mindset, your energy, and your actions, because when these elements work together, they create a level of focus, clarity, and effectiveness that allows you to perform at your best more often, not just when conditions are ideal, but even in the face of challenges or uncertainty. And as you begin to understand this, you realize that performance is not something that happens to you, but something you actively create through the way you think, prepare, and engage with your environment. One of the most important aspects of peak performance is awareness, because without understanding how you currently operate, how you manage your time, your energy, and your attention, it becomes difficult to make meaningful improvements. And as you begin to observe your patterns, to notice when you are most focused, when your energy is highest, and when distractions tend to arise, you gain valuable insight that allows you to optimize your approach, creating conditions that support your best performance rather than leaving it to chance. Energy management plays a critical role in this process, because your ability to perform is directly influenced by your physical, mental, and emotional state. And while many people focus solely on time management, the reality is that how you feel often determines how effectively you can use your time. And by prioritizing rest, nutrition, movement, and mental clarity, you create a foundation that supports sustained performance, allowing you to maintain focus and productivity over longer periods without experiencing burnout. Clarity of purpose is another essential element, because when you know what you are working toward and why it matters, your actions become more intentional, your focus becomes sharper, and your ability to prioritize improves, allowing you to direct your energy toward what truly matters rather than being pulled in multiple directions. And as you refine this clarity, you create a sense of direction that guides your daily decisions and keeps you aligned with your long-term goals. Focus is the bridge between intention and action, because even with clear goals and high energy, without the ability to concentrate on what matters most, your efforts can become scattered and less effective. And developing the skill of focus requires practice, discipline, and a willingness to minimize distractions, creating an environment that supports deep work and meaningful progress. And as you strengthen this ability, you increase your capacity to produce high-quality results in less time. Consistency transforms performance from something occasional into something reliable, because while anyone can perform well under ideal conditions, maintaining a high level of performance over time requires discipline, structure, and a commitment to showing up even when motivation is low. And as you build this consistency, you create habits that support your goals, turning effort into routine and routine into results. Another key factor is adaptability, because no matter how well you plan, circumstances will change, challenges will arise, and unexpected situations will occur, and your ability to adjust, to remain flexible while staying aligned with your goals, ensures that your performance remains strong even when conditions are not perfect, allowing you to navigate complexity with confidence and resilience. Mental resilience is equally important because setbacks, mistakes, and moments of doubt are inevitable, and how you respond to them determines whether they hinder your progress or contribute to your growth. And by developing a mindset that views challenges as opportunities to learn and improve, you strengthen your ability to recover quickly, maintain focus, and continue moving forward. Your environment also plays a significant role in supporting peak performance, because the space you work in, the people you interact with, and the habits you maintain all influence your ability to focus and perform effectively. And by creating an environment that minimizes distractions and encourages productivity, you set yourself up for success, making it easier to stay aligned with your goals. Ultimately, the foundation of peak performance is built through awareness, intention, and consistent action. Because when you understand how you operate, when you align your mindset with your goals, and when you commit to showing up every day with focus and discipline, you create a system that supports excellence, allowing you to perform at your best, not just occasionally, but consistently, turning potential into reality through deliberate effort and continuous growth. Part 2. Mastering energy, focus, and mental clarity. As you continue your journey toward peak performance, you begin to understand that your ability to perform at your best each day is not determined solely by how much time you have, but by how effectively you manage your energy, your focus, and your mental clarity, because these elements act as the foundation upon which all high-level performance is built, influencing not only how much you accomplish, but the quality, consistency, and sustainability of your results. And while many people attempt to improve performance by working longer hours or pushing themselves harder, those who consistently operate at a high level recognize that true productivity comes from alignment, from understanding when to push forward, when to rest, and how to maintain a state of clarity that allows for effective decision-making and execution. Energy management begins with awareness, with recognizing that your physical and mental energy, and sustainability of your results. And while many people attempt to improve performance by working longer hours or pushing themselves harder, those who consistently operate at a high level recognize that true productivity comes from alignment, from understanding when to push forward, when to rest, and how to maintain a state of clarity that allows for effective decision-making and execution. Energy management begins with awareness, with recognizing that your physical and mental energy fluctuates throughout the day, influenced by factors such as sleep, nutrition, movement, stress, and environment. And as you begin to observe these patterns, you gain insight into when you are most alert, when your focus is strongest, and when your energy tends to decline, allowing you to structure your day in a way that aligns your most important tasks with your peak performance periods. And this alignment can significantly increase your efficiency, enabling you to accomplish more in less time while maintaining a higher level of quality. Sleep is one of the most underestimated components of peak performance, yet it plays a critical role in cognitive function, emotional regulation, and physical recovery. And without adequate rest, your ability to focus, to think clearly, and to make effective decisions becomes compromised, leading to decreased productivity and increased errors. Yet by prioritizing sleep, by creating routines that support consistent and restorative rest, you enhance your overall performance, allowing your mind and body to operate at their full potential. And as you begin to treat sleep as a priority rather than an afterthought, you may notice a significant improvement in your energy levels and your ability to maintain focus throughout the day. Nutrition also has a direct impact on your performance, because the quality of the fuel you provide your body influences your energy, your concentration, and your overall well-being. And while it can be easy to overlook the connection between what you eat and how you perform, those who operate at a high level understand that consistent, balanced nutrition supports sustained energy and mental clarity, allowing them to remain focused and productive without experiencing sharp fluctuations in energy. And as you become more intentional about your nutrition, you create a foundation that supports both short-term performance and long-term health. Movement and physical activity contribute not only to physical health, but also to mental clarity, because regular movement increases blood flow, enhances mood, and supports cognitive function, allowing you to think more clearly and maintain focus for longer periods. And even small amounts of activity throughout the day can make a difference, helping to reset your mind, reduce stress, and improve your ability to engage with tasks. And as you incorporate movement into your routine, you may find that your overall performance becomes more consistent and sustainable. Focus, as a skill, requires intentional development, because in a world filled with constant distractions, maintaining attention on a single task can be challenging, yet it is essential for producing high-quality work. And by creating environments that minimize interruptions, by setting clear priorities, and by dedicating specific periods of time to focused work, you strengthen your ability to concentrate, gradually training your mind to remain engaged for longer durations. And as this ability improves, you increase both the efficiency and effectiveness of your efforts. Mental clarity is closely linked to how you manage information and stress, because an overloaded mind, filled with excessive input or unresolved concerns, can struggle to process information effectively, leading to confusion, indecision, and reduced performance. Yet by creating systems that organize your thoughts, by taking time to reflect, and by managing stress through practices such as mindfulness or structured breaks, you create space for clearer thinking, allowing you to approach tasks with greater precision and confidence. Another important aspect of maintaining clarity is the ability to prioritize effectively, because not all tasks carry the same level of importance, and focusing on low-impact activities can consume time and energy without contributing significantly to your goals. Yet by identifying what truly matters, by focusing on high-value tasks that align with your objectives, you ensure that your efforts produce meaningful results. And as you refine this skill, you become more strategic in how you allocate your time and energy. Breaks and recovery are essential for sustaining high performance, because continuous effort without rest can lead to fatigue, reduced focus, and diminished productivity. Yet by incorporating intentional breaks into your routine, you allow your mind to reset, maintaining a higher level of energy and clarity over time. And this approach not only improves performance, but also reduces the risk of burnout, ensuring that your efforts remain sustainable. Your environment also plays a critical role in supporting focus and clarity, because the spaces you work in, the level of noise, the presence of distractions, and even the organization of your surroundings can influence your ability to concentrate. And by creating environments that support your goals, that minimize unnecessary interruptions, and that encourage productivity, you make it easier to maintain focus and perform at a high level. Ultimately, mastering energy, focus, and mental clarity is about understanding how your mind and body operate, and using that understanding to create systems and habits that support your performance, allowing you to move beyond reactive effort and into intentional execution, where your actions are guided by awareness, your focus is directed with purpose, and your results reflect the alignment between how you think, how you feel, and how you act, enabling you to perform at your best consistently, not just occasionally. Part 3. Building unshakable drive and daily execution. At a certain point in your journey toward peak performance, you begin to understand that knowing what to do is never the real challenge, because information alone does not create results, and even the most powerful strategies remain ineffective without the ability to execute them consistently, which is why the true separator is not knowledge, but drive, the internal force that pushes you to act, to follow through, and to keep moving even when comfort pulls you in the opposite direction. And this drive is not something you wait to feel, but something you deliberately build, strengthen, and rely on. especially in moments when motivation fades and discipline must take its place. Execution, when viewed through the lens of high performance, is not about intensity or bursts of effort, but about reliability, about becoming the kind of person who does what needs to be done, regardless of mood, distraction, or external pressure, because those who operate at the highest level do not negotiate with their responsibilities. They commit to them, and this commitment creates a sense of stability in their actions, allowing them to produce results consistently rather than occasionally. And as you begin to adopt this approach, you may notice a shift in how you relate to your tasks, moving away from hesitation and toward decisive actio, or external pressure, because those who operate at the highest level do not negotiate with their responsibilities. They commit to them, and this commitment creates a sense of stability in their actions, allowing them to produce results consistently rather than occasionally. And as you begin to adopt this approach, you may notice a shift in how you relate to your tasks, moving away from hesitation and toward decisive actio. Clarity plays a different role here, not just as a sense of direction, but as a filter that determines what deserves your attention and what does not. Because when your priorities are vague, your effort becomes scattered, yet when you define clearly what matters most, you create a structure that guides your actions, helping you avoid unnecessary distractions and focus on what truly drives progress. And this clarity reduces mental friction, making it easier to begin tasks and maintain momentum without constantly questioning your direction. Momentum itself becomes a powerful ally once you learn how to initiate it, because starting is often the most difficult part, yet once action begins, it tends to carry forward, creating a rhythm that makes continuation easier than stopping. And this is why high performers place so much emphasis on beginning, even in small ways, because they understand that progress is built step by step, and that each completed action reinforces the next, gradually building a flow that transforms effort into something more natural and less forced. Resistance, however, will always appear in different forms, sometimes as procrastination, sometimes as overthinking, and sometimes as the subtle urge to delay action in favor of comfort. Yet those who perform at their best recognize these patterns not as signals to stop, but as moments to lean in, to act despite the resistance, and in doing so, they weaken its influence over time, training themselves to move forward even when it feels difficult. And this ability to act in the presence of resistance becomes one of the most valuable skills in maintaining consistent performance. Another critical element is the ability to finish what you start, because incomplete tasks not only slow progress, but also create mental clutter, reducing clarity and increasing stress. Yet when you develop the habit of completing tasks, you create a sense of closure and accomplishment that reinforces your confidence and strengthens your ability to take on new challenges. And this pattern of completion builds trust in yourself, establishing a standard of follow-through that supports long-term success. Your relationship with time also begins to change as you refine your execution, because instead of seeing time as something to manage loosely, you begin to treat it as a structured resource, allocating it intentionally to activities that align with your goals. And this shift allows you to move from reactive behavior, where your day is shaped by external demands, to proactive control, where your schedule reflects your priorities. And as this control increases, so does your ability to produce meaningful results. Environment becomes a silent contributor to execution, influencing your behavior in ways that are often overlooked, because the spaces you occupy, the tools you use, and the level of order or distraction around you can either support or hinder your ability to take action. And by designing environments that reduce friction, that make it easier to begin and continue your work, you create conditions that naturally encourage productivity, reducing the need for constant willpower. Recovery, while often associated with rest, also plays a role in execution, because sustained performance requires periods of reset, moments where your mind can step back, process, and recharge, allowing you to return with renewed focus and energy. And without this balance, even the most driven individuals can experience fatigue that diminishes their effectiveness, making it essential to integrate recovery as part of your overall system rather than treating it as an afterthought. Ultimately, building unshakable drive and mastering daily execution is about becoming consistent in your actions, disciplined in your approach, and intentional in how you move through each day. Because when you reach a point where action becomes automatic, where you no longer rely on motivation, but on commitment, you unlock a level of performance that is stable, repeatable, and capable of producing results over time, allowing you to operate not just at your best occasionally, but at a level that reflects your full potential on a daily basis. Part 4. Sustaining excellence without burnout. Reaching a high level of performance is one challenge, but maintaining it over time without losing clarity, energy, or motivation is an entirely different skill. Because many people push themselves intensely for short periods, only to experience exhaustion, frustration, or a decline in results. And this cycle often creates the illusion that peak performance is unsustainable, when in reality the issue is not the level of effort, but the lack of balance, awareness, and structure required to support it. And those who consistently operate at their best understand that performance is not about constant pressure, but about rhythm, about knowing when to push forward and when to step back in order to maintain long-term effectiveness. One of the most important principles in sustaining excellence is understanding that energy is renewable, but not limitless, meaning that while you can recover, recharge, and rebuild, you cannot ignore your limits without consequence. And this awareness allows you to approach your work with a sense of strategy rather than force, recognizing that periods of intense focus should be balanced with intentional recovery, creating a cycle that supports both productivity and well-being. And as you begin to work with this rhythm instead of against it, you may notice that your performance becomes more consistent, more controlled, and less dependent on extremes. Burnout often develops gradually, not as a sudden collapse, but as a slow accumulation of fatigue, stress, and mental overload that goes unaddressed until it begins to affect your ability to think clearly, to stay motivated, and to perform effectively. And because it builds over time, it can be difficult to recognize in its early stages. Yet by paying attention to subtle signs, such as decreased focus, increased irritability, or a lack of enthusiasm, you can intervene early, adjusting your approach before it escalates into something more significant. And this proactive awareness becomes a key factor in maintaining long-term performance. Boundaries play a crucial role in protecting your energy, because without clear limits on how you allocate your time and attention, it becomes easy to overextend yourself, to take on more than you can sustain, and to allow external demands to dictate your schedule. Yet by setting boundaries, by defining when you work, when you rest, and what you prioritize, you create a structure that supports your goals while preserving your well-being. And this balance allows you to remain productive without sacrificing your health or clarity. Another essential factor is learning how to disconnect, not just physically, but mentally. Because even when you are not actively working, your mind can remain engaged, processing tasks, revisiting decisions, or anticipating future challenges, and this constant engagement can prevent true recovery, reducing the effectiveness of your rest. Yet by developing the ability to step away fully, to create moments of genuine detachment, you allow your mind to reset, improving your ability to return with focus and creativity. Variety and flexibility also contribute to sustained performance, because repeating the same patterns without variation can lead to stagnation, reducing both engagement and effectiveness. Yet by introducing new challenges, adjusting your approach, or exploring different methods of working, you keep your mind active and adaptable, maintaining a sense of progress and preventing monotony. And this adaptability allows you to evolve your performance rather than simply maintain it. Your internal dialogue continues to play a role at this stage, because the way you speak to yourself influences how you handle pressure, how you respond to fatigue, and how you maintain motivation. And when your internal voice supports balance, encourages awareness, and reinforces sustainable effort, it becomes easier to navigate the demands of high performance without falling into extremes. Yet when it pushes constant pressure without consideration for recovery, it can contribute to burnout, making it essential to maintain a balanced and supportive mindset. Long-term performance also requires a shift in how you define success, because if success is measured only by constant output or immediate results, it can create a cycle of overexertion. Yet when success includes sustainability, clarity, and well-being, it encourages a more balanced approach, allowing you to maintain high performance without compromising your ability to continue over time. And this broader definition creates a healthier relationship with achievement. Reflection becomes increasingly valuable as you aim to sustain excellence, because taking time to evaluate what is working, what is not, and how you can adjust your approach allows you to refine your system continuously, improving both efficiency and effectiveness. And this process of reflection ensures that your performance evolves with your needs, preventing stagnation and supporting ongoing growth. Ultimately, sustaining excellence without burnout is about creating a system that supports both effort and recovery, both discipline and flexibility, allowing you to perform at a high level not just for a short period, but over the long term. And as you integrate these principles into your daily life, you move beyond temporary performance and into a state of consistent, sustainable excellence where your energy, your focus, and your actions remain aligned, enabling you to operate at your best in a way that is both effective and enduring. Conclusion: living at your peak every day. As you reach the end of peak performance, how to perform at your absolute best every day. Take a moment to recognize that peak performance is not a destination you arrive at, but a way of living, a continuous process of refining how you think, how you act, and how you manage your energy. Because the ability to perform at your best is not determined by a single habit, of multiple elements working together over time. And as you begin to apply what you have learned, to build systems that support your focus, your execution, and your recovery, you will notice that your performance becomes more consistent, more intentional, and more aligned with your goals. Remember that your best is not defined by perfection, but by progress, by your willingness to show up, to improve, and to continue moving forward even when conditions are not ideal. And as you embrace this mindset, you remove the pressure of unrealistic expectations and replace it with a commitment to growth, allowing you to sustain high performance without losing clarity or balance. And this shift enables you to operate at a level that reflects your true potential. Thank you for listening to Frema Audiobooks. If this audiobook has helped you see your performance in a new way, if it has given you tools to improve your focus, your energy, and your daily execution, then take a moment to support the channel by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this with someone who is ready to perform at their highest level. Because your support helps this message reach more people who are committed to growth, discipline, and excellence. So, stay focused, stay consistent, and keep showing up at your best. This is Frema Audiobooks, and your peak performance journey continue.